Hello, crafting friends. I'm Dorene Decibus from It Begins with Ink and Paper, and welcome to Fun Fold Friday. I don't know, it has been quite a day. We have been getting the remnants of Debbie, and it's certainly not as bad as the southern states have gotten, but we've had a lot of rain, and it is so dark out right now with the dark clouds. So I'm hoping we don't start having some thunderstorms. At least the wind has died down because I'd hate to lose power. But welcome to Fun Fold Friday. I'm happy that you are joining me here on the live or on the replay, and of course on my YouTube channel. Don't forget to like my page, follow my page, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's a big thing that you can do to help my small business. So I appreciate all of you. So right here I have the cover of the mini catalog. I received this in the mail this week. I have been able to look at it online before then, and I actually have received my pre-order. So this weekend, if I have time, I'll jump on at some point and do an unboxing video. But we have some pretty nice products in this mini catalog, and if you're wondering about these little houses, yes, there is a punch that goes along with this, so that is pretty exciting. Can't show you anything until it goes live on, I believe it's September 4th. That is correct, on September 4th. So right now I can only show you the cover. So some of you, I haven't received my copy that I've ordered. I always order one to be shipped to me so that I know when my customers are going to be getting theirs. Hopefully you'll get yours soon if you are someone who shops with me. All right, let's get started. So I am using the Season of Green and Gold Sweet Collection again tonight. I feel like I'm getting all my Christmas cards done and really enjoying it with this suite. It's just so pretty, and I just love everything about it. So tonight's fun fold is a fancy fun fold. I don't really know what the name of it is. I couldn't find, I saw many different examples of this. I'm not sure who created it, or I just Googled fancy fun fold, and this was one that came up. I'm using the Greetings of the Season stamp set tonight, and the dies that go with it. So I love the dies because you can get tons of different labels and different tags that you can make, so it goes nicely with the stamp set. This is the card we're going to be making tonight. I really debated on the cover, on the front of the card. I didn't know if I needed to put a greeting on it or not, so let me know what you think in the comments. I decided not to, thinking it was really beautiful enough as is, so I put my greeting on the inside of the card. This little flap opens up and I put another greeting on the inside, but this is the card we're going to be making. So tonight we're going to be scoring and doing some cutting right here. So let me just check. I think it's 1/4 inch in that we're going to be, 1 1/4 inches in that we're going to be cutting. So we'll be measuring 1 1/4 on each side of this. All right, so let's get started and talk about what you need for supplies for tonight's card. We're going to start with a 5.5 by 12 inch piece of very vanilla cardstock. Now, this is not thick cardstock, it's just the regular weight, but with everything we're going to be layering on all of the different panels, it makes it a very sturdy card, and you don't have to worry about this not being a thicker weight for a card base. You are also going to need a piece of 4 1/4 by 6 1/2 very vanilla. We will be scoring both of these in just a moment. And of course you're going to be needing a scrap to die cut the tag we're going to be using. And this is the tag that we're going to be using tonight. So you'll need a die cut for that. Now we're going to need a lot of old olive and our DesignerSeries paper. So let's start with the old olive. we are going to need a panel that measures 3 3/4 by 5 1/4, and I have embossed this with the distressed embossing folder. Just gives it such a nice pattern, and that will show up nicely in our card that we're going to be making. We're going to need one piece that measures 3 by 4. We're going to need 2 pieces that measure 1 3/4 by 5 1/4. We're going to need 2 pieces that measure 1 3/4 by 2 3/4. And then we're going to need 4 little pieces that measure 1 inch by 1 1/4 inch. So 4 of those. Remember, I will put all of the cardstock measurements in the comments after the video is over. Okay, so then we're using 2 of the Designer Series paper. We're using the Seasons of Green and Gold Specialty Designer Series paper, and we need 3 pieces cut from this. I am using this pattern that has all of the sprigs on it and bits of gold. I love this pattern. It's one of my favorites from the package. And we're going to need 2 pieces that measure 1 1/2 by 5 inches. And then we're going to need 1 piece that measures 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. Then the other Specialty Designer Series paper that we're using tonight is the Gold Mercury Vellum Specialty Designer Series paper. And we're going to need 2 pieces. I love this Designer Series paper. It's vellum. It's just so pretty. We're going to need 2 pieces of this that measure 1 1/2 inch by 2 1/2 inches. And then we're going to need 4 of these little pieces that measure 3/4 of an inch by 1 1/2 inches. So that is what we need for supplies. And then we're going to be die cutting some things from the Designer Series paper. So I've die cut a bell from the Vellum Designer Series paper. I've die cut some sprigs. So we've got 2 of those. From the gold foil, I've also cut out some boughs, and then I cut one of these from the Seasoning Green and Gold, and it has the little gold stripes in it, which make it really nice. Okay, that's what we need for tonight. So let's get started. We're going to start with doing our scoring and then cutting. So I'm going to get my scoreboard out. Let me just put that here. And we'll start with our piece of 5 1/2 by 12 inch piece of cardstock. This one, the scoring measurements are really easy. It is 2, 4, 6, and 8. So easy to do, easy to remember. So 2, 4, 6, and 8. And there we go. That gives us the base of our card. Let's just put this underneath. And our smaller piece, the one that measures 4 1/4 by 6 1/2, we're going to score at 3 1/4. So right here, this is going to make that little tiny card that's going to go on the inside of our card. All right. And we'll switch out now to the paper cutter. So what I'm going to want to do, so I'm going to show you this again in the sample card. I'm going to go from the left side where I have my first 2 inch panel, and then my next 2 inch panels are where I'm going to be doing my cutting. I'm going to measure in 1 1/4 inches on both of these, and then I'll cut, and then I'm going to fold my score lines. I'm not going to fold them before. So here is my first 2 inch piece on the left. These are the 2 I'm going to cut, and then I have another 2 inch piece and the base of my card. So I'm going to measure this in, and I'm going to have to stand up while I do this, and you might see my head poking down too. I'm going to measure this in at 1 1/4 inches, and I am going to use, oops, I'm going the wrong way, I'm sorry. I'm going to measure it in 1 1/4 inches, and I'm going to use these 2 score lines to help me with my cutting. So I'm going to bring my cutter down, my cutting blade down to the first score line, and I am going to cut to the second score line. So you can see that I have that space cut right here. I'm going to turn my paper around, and this one, again, I'm going to cut at 1 1/4 inches, but my 2 sections are now lower on my cutter. So I am going to cut that section, and I have my cuts made. Okay, let's put that away. So it's pretty simple for what you have to do for the cuts. Now, I am going to want this piece of my card to fold over this way. Let me grab my bone folder. As I say almost every week in a fun fold, the best thing you can do is make a great crease. So I'm going to fold this section. It's been cut, so I'm just going to make sure I get each section. We'll worry about this middle section afterwards. I just right now want to get it all scored, and then we'll get it to go the right way. And I want everything to be as even as it can be. Okay, so what I need to do with this next section is this middle piece is actually going to fold out. And these 2 pieces here are going to be on the inside, so that when this card folds, so we've got a mountain fold, 2 valley folds, a mountain fold, and then we're going to have a, oh, I've got it on the wrong side. No wonder this is not, wondering why it wasn't working. There we go. This is what it's going to look like. So you just got to make sure you have this so it's a mountain, valley, and then the base of the card. Okay? So that's what our fold looks like. Now we have another fold, and that's our little mini card. And so I'm just going to fold that and give it a nice burnish. Okay, we have a couple of things to stamp, so let's do our stamping right now. And we're going to be using the old olive ink. Let me grab that out of my So first I'm going to be stamping the inside greeting. It says it's the most wonderful time of the year. So I'm going to ink that up in the old olive ink. And I'm going to be putting this sort of in the center, but I'm moving it over to the left a little bit because I want to put a piece that I cut out of the DesignerSeries paper. So that is stamped. And then we're going to stamp our Merry Christmas. This is in 2 different stamps. So I'm going to start with the Merry. And I went over pretty far on this section right here. And then I'm going to line it up with the Christmas. So there we go. And for right now, that's all the stamping we need to do. All right, let me just move these stamps back out of the way. All right. Oh, it looks like. Nope. Okay. So, first thing first, let's start adding some of our panels to all of this. So I'm going to start with adding the piece of old olive that I embossed. That is going to be our inside panel of our card. So there we go with that. This piece here is going to be centered right on this piece. But before I do that, I'm going to add that little piece that I want it to. I'm just going to place it so it fits within the sentiment. And let's just add some adhesive to that right now. And then I'm going to actually cut the extra off. So I want it to just really go around that sentiment, and then I'll take my paper snips and we'll just snip the rest off. There we go. It's just like if I had stamped part of an image on. Oh, there's a little bit at the bottom I need to just trim. There we go. Now, this piece is going to get this larger piece. It measures, this is the 2 3/4 by 3 3/4 piece of DesignerSeries paper. So this is going to go onto the front of this little mini card. Oops, no, it's going to go in front of the 3 by 4 piece of old olive. Let's get all the layers. I really love layers on my cards, so something I really enjoy. All right, so that's going on the front. And then I'm going to put this into, give it a good amount of adhesive. And this is going to be centered right on this piece here. Okay, we'll decorate that later, but we've got this section of the card all set. All right, so next we're going to take these two pieces and adhere them to these two pieces of old olive. So I'm going to just add my adhesive. I've been trying to get ahead of the game because school starts in 2 weeks, and I just want to have things planned and ready, and I've planned several Fun Fold Fridays. I planned this over a week ago, and just coming back and remembering everything. Okay, so we have those two pieces, and these two pieces are going to go here and here. So let's attach those. Everything I've made with this suite, especially with this DesignerSeries paper, has just come out so beautiful. I just love it. I don't think you can go wrong with this suite. All right, now we need to put all of these pieces of the gold Mercury Vellum onto the corresponding pieces of green. And what I'm going to do is add that using some, we're looking for my liquid glue. Sorry about that. I thought it was right here. I've been using it all day. Well, I don't see it, so we're just going to grab another one. Always ready for an adhesive emergency. So I like using the liquid glue with this because what I can do, because we can see through the vellum, I'm going to just add little tiny dots where the gold on the vellum is located. And I can see that on the back. And I'm just putting little tiny dots. It's not going to need much. But I want a little bit towards the center and some towards the edge. There we go, the first one. Using the liquid glue allows you to move it if you need to. Not for long, but you can move it if you need to, if you don't get it on straight. So there's the first piece, and now let's go with the second piece. I will tell you, when you open a new mono white glue or the green glue, it's in the green container, you've got to really be gentle with it because the glue will just come out so quickly. What's nice about this too is where the gold foil is not showing, the green from the old olive will. Okay, let's get this piece on. There we go. And now all we have to do is get all these little pieces on. There's a lot of parts to this card, but it's well worth it when it's done. It's going to be a really elegant Christmas card. Okay, the first one is ready. Now that we're getting ready to go back to school, the weeks are going by so fast. I can't believe how fast this week went. I've started to do a little schoolwork at home just to get my mind back into the groove. I've bought a lot of stuff too, and so that my husband and I think, are going to go in Sunday and just drop everything off and move all my tables where they need to be, just to get something done. And then I'm going to start going in before my PT appointments next week. Try to work a couple hours, maybe at least 3 hours in the morning. And that will help me start getting into the routine of getting up early. I don't like getting up early. And I leave for school at as close to 6 o'clock as I can. So that means I have to get up at 5 o'clock. Okay, one more. And then we'll be ready to finish putting this together and decorating it. All right. Oops, that one's a little crooked. There we go. All right, so we're done with the glue. And let's start putting this together. All right, so these pieces are going to go right here. There we go. And these smaller pieces are going to go above and below. So I'm centering these onto the vanilla cardstock, but I'm also trying to keep them lined up with the other pieces that I'm putting on so that everything is lined up together. Okay, so now we've got our card made. It's going to fold like this, so you get to see right from the front of the card the beautifully embossed area. You get to see the vellum that is the Mercury gold. You get to see the DesignerSeries paper. So that is it. So now what we're going to do is start decorating. So let's start with the inside. I'm going to take 2 of the gold foil bows, and I'm going to be using glue on this again. And they're going to start and just be placed out to the side. And then this piece is just going to go right in the middle. I can use the tape for this. And then we're going to use dimensionals, though I am going to cut this off, so I'm not going to be adding anything to the tag, any string or ribbon. So I am going to take some of the smaller dimensionals, and we will add a few to the back of this. Oh, it got stuck to my finger. I was like, what happened to that one? Okay, there we go. And I'm just going to take these backings off. There we go. And we're going to cover up those extra stems. And there we go, to the back part of the card. Okay, now to the front. We're going to again start with our 2 bows, and I am going to have them on both of the panels, but I'm not going to, I'm going to make sure that I can still open the panel. So I'm going to start right here and bring this one coming down. And then I'm going to have this one going across. So I'm only going to put my adhesive on the top because I don't want it stuck to this panel here. So this will go right here. There we go. And then these are going to be put on together. So I'm going to have one coming down like this, and the other one is going to be coming over like this. They're going to overlap, but we're going to see them on both sides. So again, I'm going to just put some adhesive here at the top. It's going to be covered up by the bell. And this way none of it will be attached to this open spot here. So just hold that for a minute to let it adhere. And then I'm going to take the regular size dimensionals to attach the bell. Three should do it. And then we can attach that to the front. And now all we have to do is add a little bit of bling. And I'm going to use the neutrals sequins. So I'm going to use one of the large and two of the smaller ones. And that is tonight's Funfold Friday. So here it is, closed, opened, and then we have that last little piece that opens up as well. Lots of fun. Well, thank you so much for joining me tonight, and I hope you've enjoyed this Funfold, and hopefully you'll try it. I will be posting all the measurements in the comments. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I'll be back Sunday for another edition of Simply Stamping Sunday, and I'll be back next Friday night for another edition of Funfold Friday. Have a good night, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.